Manipur Chief Minister Khemchand Singh speaks of peace, inclusive development and the need for all 36 communities to move forward together. The ground reality appears far more complicated. On one hand, the All Naga Students Association Manipur has issued a 4-day ultimatum to the state government demanding the safe release of 6 Naga hostages allegedly abducted earlier this month, and the group has warned that failure to act could lead to a boycott of the government and calls for Naga legislators to withdraw support. On the other hand, Kuki Inpi Manipur has called for a nationwide rally over the killing of 3 Kuki-Zo church leaders and continued detention of 14 civilians in Senapati district. The organization says the protest will be held across the country and has appealed to community groups, churches, students and civil society organizations to join the demonstrations. And these developments come at a time when the Chief Minister is reiterating that peace through dialogue is the only path forward and that Manipur can progress only when all communities in both the hills and the valley develop together. But as fresh ultimatums, protests and competing demands emerge from different communities, the key question remains, is Manipur moving towards reconciliation or are old fault lines continuing to deepen despite repeated appeals for peace? And we ask, can dialogue bridge the trust deficit, and what must the government do to address the concerns of all communities before tensions escalate further? And to give us more insights, we have PK Mishra, former ADG BSF, Colonel retired Shanti Kumar Sapam, spokesperson of the Meitei Heritage Society, and also T. Michael Haukip, Lamjantang Haukip, social activist of Manipur. A very good evening to you, gentlemen. Sir, Mishra sir, my first question to you is about the Chief Minister talking about peace and reconciliation, but multiple communities are issuing ultimatums. Does this really indicate a serious trust deficit with the state administration?
Yes, I can well tell you, even if Honorable Chief Minister has spoken that yes, most of the communities are coming and the peace may come and they can discuss also, but I am very sure trust deficit is there. I will tell you, I'm adding one more point. The worst part of it, Ukhrul is cut. Yesterday night, all these Kuki militants, they have taken JCBs and bulldozers and they have dug national highway at Ukhrul, at Tikholen, and in fact the complete Ukhrul district is blocked and no vehicle can pass. This shows ineffectiveness and political leaders, they cannot take a decision to keep national highway clear. It is a shame that we could not come to know. The government could not come to know. The state government could not come to know that Kuki militants, they are going to block Ukhrul Road. That means the violence is increasing, trust deficit is increasing, and no party is coming to discuss with any other party. And I can well tell you about those persons who are taken hostages. They may not also return. I am telling it otherwise, they may not also return. That is what things are going. And in fact, I'll tell you the violence is increasing and it is going out of control. And here I can well tell you that Ukhrul is a state. It is not only the Kuki communities they are coming on the roads, but Ukhrul is a state which should be handed over either to army or to Assam Rifle or to any other force. The local police cannot control Ukhrul now. That has gone out of control. Things are very bad in Manipur until and unless strict political decision cannot be taken by the Honorable Chief Minister and a deployment of heavy force cannot be done in Ukhrul and other areas. This type of blocks and this type of violence will always be there, and abduction more will continue because this Naga Kuki class is going to ruin. They have already ruined the state. And it is a fact I am telling you.
Haukip, Ukhrul is slowly slipping away from control. Kuki organizations are calling for nationwide rallies over the killing of 3 church leaders. What message are they trying to send to the government?
I'll tell you, these 3 church leaders, they were killed much earlier on Tiger Road. Here I'm telling you, Tikholen and Tiger Road, that's very important to the Kuki militants. And they are getting help. Earlier also I told you, they are getting the help of drugs and weapons from Kuki militants opposite side, and the border is completely porous, completely open without deployment of any border guarding force. So that is what is the main problem in Manipur. And all these militants, they are, you see, they become very fast. Just see, if these militant groups, they are taking it on Maitis. They are also taking it on Nagas. They are also taking it on Tamkul Nagas. Everywhere. How come they are doing it at Chandel? How come they are doing it at Kakching? Kankopi, they are doing it at Kakching, and they will do at Bishnupur also, Churachandpur also. Everywhere they are getting the weapons, and they want to do anything, they are doing it. That is what I am telling you. If you want to keep NH to clear, we have to use force, and definitely we have to keep it open, because Manipuris, they want the logistics. They want all necessary essential items to come from Dimapur, and by hook or by crook, government and political leaders must take a decision to utilize the force, and forcibly the NH2 has to remain open. There is no other option. And I am telling you, until and unless we don't have a real force deployment in the Ukhrul district, and the Ukhrul national highway cannot be totally come under control of security forces, things will continue. And if they are firing, like if a firing comes from a hilltop with the Sara Hills, and we have to utilize the drone and helicopter operation have to be made. There is no other option, I'm telling you, in Manipur.
Mr. Haukip, the Manipur Chief Minister says dialogue is the only way forward, but do Kuki groups still have faith in dialogue-based solutions? Because as far as what I'm hearing, they have completely lost faith in dialogue-based solutions, and that's why they've taken matter into their own hands. Your thoughts, Mr. Haukip?
Uh, so basically, first of all, to solve the crisis, we need to understand what exactly is cookie. I mean, like, without understanding cookie, you will not be able to solve the Manipur crisis or Manipur violence. Because during the initial days, it was portrayed as cookie versus Meitei, wherein, in the name of cookies, all the non-Naga tribal groups are affected and targeted or impacted. So, willingly or unwillingly, the non-Naga tribal groups, including the Thados, are defending themselves from the mob because law and order was of complete collapse at that point in time. Now, the people of Manipur have lost their trust, lost their faith in the policing system because first they need to trust in the government, that is the police, because the rule has to be handled by the police. Rules should not be handled by the mob or the public, irrespective of its community. So now, in this case, the people of Manipur, irrespective of the quote unquote 36 communities mentioned by the chief minister, this needs to collectively understand what exactly is cookie. Today, the Kukis are trying to sideline the Naga tribes, like it is Kuki versus Tangkul specific, and it is Kuki versus Liangmei specific, because there are many tribes, 22 tribes that accept that they are Nagas and they form a common nomenclature called Nagas, common ethnic name, whereas the remaining 12 tribes does not all accept that they are Kuki, but they have been labeled, targeted as Kuki by the government or by the Nagas or by the Métis. Yet they have been conveniently labeled as Kuki, wherein the Thados like us, like me, we never agreed to Kuki label or Kuki tag. So you need to understand what exactly is cookie. Then you will be able to understand the problem of the cookies, and then you will also be able to understand the solution to that cookies. How are you going to handle? Now, at this point in time, earlier it was Kuki versus Meitei, TK, no issues. Now it shifted again to Kuki versus Nagas. And now, who paid the price? Now, a truck driver, innocent truck driver from West Bengal paid the price. And innocent senior citizens, a Thado Baptist church leader paid the price. And then an innocent baby from Guwahati who came for a cultural or ritual cutting paid the price. Everybody have paid the price because of this Kuki aggression. Now it's very clear. So you need to identify which areas the Kukis are active, and where law and order needs to be restored, and in which areas there are still breakdown of law and order is there. That needs to be identified. And among all these
Sir, but how
36
long? How
tribes
long?
or
Since 2023, they have just been identifying. Even the report has not been submitted to the Ministry of Home Affairs. In fact, the report that had to be submitted has been, deferred till November. And Colonel Sapam, deep divisions still exist in Manipur on ground zero. The Chief Minister says all 36 communities must progress together. But do you believe that vision, that particular vision is currently reflected on ground? Because I don't think so.
Deepak, thank you so much for having me in your show.
Yes, sir.
Electricity is just gone and then it's a little dark. Anyway,
Huh.
good evening, all the panelists. What I have to say over here is, right from the beginning, I have been maintaining that there's no community, ethnic clash. Lamjathang and self, we had a meeting over here in Imphal, sometimes around in August, early August 2025, right? And we had a very nice, constructive discussion with Lamjathang and his party. And on 18th of August, most probably 18th of August, Nenkam Jamhao from Karbing Long, he was kidnapped and he was shot, yeah, because he talked about peace in Manipur. This is the thing. That is what I wanted to say. There is no difference between me and Lamjathang. We sit together, we dine together, yeah. So there's no conflict as such, as far as ethnic conflict is concerned. But what I want to say over here is, this Kuki community is taking on two communities now, Nagas also, Kukis also. From where they get this power and the resources and the support. This is what the nation has to understand. The government has to understand. Both the government has to have to understand. So, yesterday night, the highway to Ukrul, it's been dug out with JCB. Matlab, nobody can go. It's ridiculous, yeah. And as Lamjathang just said, three Kuki, leaders, church leaders, they were eliminated because 5 days before the ambush, they talk about peace in Manipur. We should not tolerate, all this violence and all. So they had to sacrifice their life. And as Sir ADG PK Mishra ji had just said, I have my doubt, yeah. God forbid, nothing should happen with the Kuki kidnap people also and the Naga kidnap people also. But what happened is, I have my doubt whether their body will be, available, in due course of time. I have my doubt. So the situation is very, very tense in Manipur. It's very complicated, and both the government, the central and the state government, must take a very strong decision. Otherwise, we are heading for it's a big national security problem that I would like to submit, Deepak. Thanks.
That's right, sir. And PK Mishra, sir, all of this, indicates that intelligence and security agencies have completely lost their ability to prevent localized armed groups from carrying out these kidnappings and targeted violence. So, what should the immediate priority should be of the government, that is rescuing hostages, ensuring justice, or stopping targeted violence? PK Mishra, sir.
Deepak, I can well tell you.
Uh-huh.
Deepak, I can well tell you. For Kashmir, what the government has done, central government, Article 370 and 35A, that was abolished, and force was used, and absolutely the whole belt. I'm telling the logistical support from Jammu to Srinagar. That such a big road, big belt, that remains open with the deployment of troops. If this can be done by the government and the troops, why this small patch in Manipur cannot be controlled? Earlier also it was controlled and we could keep this national highway to Dimapur open. The worst part of it, I'm not telling about a community, a group, it blocks Ukhrul. Another group, it blocks Jeribam. Another group, it blocks NH2. Another group, it blocks Tignopal. Another group, it blocks Jiribam Road to Silchar. What is happening in Manipur? Why can't we keep it open? I fully agree with Sapam that all these persons who are abducted, perhaps they are not returning. But this abduction will continue. Distrust is there and more distrust will be there. They will not come to a conclusion. They will not sit. The only thing is we have to use force. I repeat, we have to use force in Ukrul and Kankopi and all these national highways, and we have to keep it open. More forces are required, and we have to block Myanmar and Manipur border. There is no other option because you see this uh, distrust is expanding, and you see buffer zone is there. What is buffer zone? Somebody is asking a new separate administration. Somebody is telling we want a separate state. Somebody is asking, okay, we are having few pastors were killed. This
Sir,
abduction will
PK
be
Mishra, sir,
continuing. I'm telling you.
I would like to, ask you a question here. The
Yes,
president of Myanmar is on a state visit to India. Do you think Manipur issue will be discussed?
definitely, I'm 100% sure it will be discussed with Myanmar president, and because this fencing has not been done in Myanmar border and deployment of force has not been done, and we are getting drugs from there, we are getting weapons from there, and we are getting rebels also from there. They are entering. Definitely that will be discussed with them. And in fact, SIR is a must in Manipur, and we have to find out how many rebels are there in small new villages which have come up in our border areas of Manipur with Myanmar. They have to be detected and they have to be pushed back. And that is what Myanmar with Myanmar government, the talk will be there, and I'm very sure government is going to do that. And with that, I can well tell you, as Vendu Adhikari has asked for more forces, and he has controlled whole of Bengal. Why can't it be controlled in Manipur? For the time being, for at least 1 or 2 months, force has to be used to keep national highway open, and force has to be used to seal the border. There is no other option, I'm telling you, and operation should continue. Coordinated operation should be there as it is being done in Kashmir. That is the only alternative for 2 or 6 months. So this is a must, otherwise we are losing. We have lost already Ukrul. Ukrul requires a solid commander who can take a decision. How come at night Kuki militants they came and they took JCB and bulldozers and they totally dug holes on national highway and they have blocked it. What do you mean by this?
And this
You
is
have no
against national
intelligence.
interest, sir. And Mr. Haukip, it seems like there is a perception within the Kuki community that investigations into violence have been very selective. Do you agree with it?
That's the narrative. It includes, from the Meitei side point of view, also they will definitely say it's selective. From the Thado perspective, also it will definitely say it's selective. We have our own reasoning, but that's not the truth. But in fact, one thing is very clear: appeasement of the cookies is very clear by the government, both the government and the central and the state, because now if you look into it, the aggression is more onto the cookies. Why can't government of India and government of Manipur is and government of Manipur is not clear about Manipur ethnicity. They try to label and tag Manipur as a tri-ethnic. It's Kuki, Naga, and Meitei alone. It's not. It's multi-ethnic. So in that way, Manipur government is selectively engaging only one particular group, so-called cookies. They have never engaged with the Métis, the Nagas, and the Tados, and many other tribes. They're among all the 36 communities, the pro-peace people who want peace in Manipur. Who are those groups? Where do they reside? What problem do they have? Government of India and government of Manipur is not engaging any pro-peace group. They engage only Kuki-Zo council so far, if I'm not mistaken. So then you will not find any solution in terms of engagement. It's exclusive, not inclusive. So if you look into it, Manipur government should stop appeasing cookies.
That's right. And Colonel
Unless and
Sapam, when there are these narratives that are being spread that the investigation is selective, how can there be reconciliation? Because communities are still demanding basic justice and security.
Yeah, actually, to my surprise also, no not much of action has been taken. I'm a military man, so I find it very difficult to digest. So far, 13 security personnel, police, Manipur police as well as central, security forces, they have been eliminated so far, killed so far, and the arrested by the NIA and all from the culprit. Some of them are from the Sioux cadre also. The Sioux cadre, they have been paid monthly from the income tax paid by the nation. So this kind of thing, I just cannot digest basically. But what I have to say is that firstly, there is no ethnic clash between the Meiteis and Kukis. There are a deep agenda in this, conflict, and the central government and the state government must take strong actions against the culprit. This is what I wanted to say. I wanted to convey. It has to be very strong, must come out with a big danda, and the problem should be solved. Because people are all fed up over here. There are many, the maximum, innocent people are suffering basically. So when the national highway is blocked, the people from the valley, poor people are also there. If they want to go for treatment in Guwahati and all those things, they can't go. They can't go. We are all just confined over here. And, I can very proudly say that there's no ethnic conflict between us because Lamjat Thang, who is sitting one of the panelists over here today, he sits with me in Imphal and we discuss. So if it is ethnic, then why we can sit over here? That is the question which I wanted to, ask the government. So the government, so my humble request is both the center as well as the state government, please come strongly and try to solve the problem.
PK Mishra sir, hearing all sides, it looks like there is a deliberate attempt by certain forces to keep Manipur on the boil. Every time there seems to be progress, a new and a fresh flashpoint emerges. How do you identify these forces?
Deepak, it is very easy to identify. We know.
Sir, if
who
it's
are
so easy,
creating
then why isn't that being done?
Very easy to identify. You are correct. Why it is happening? Because political decisions, they are not coming correctly. We don't want to take action against that group who is creating problem. Whoever is creating problem, whoever is blocking national highways, whoever is giving problem of logistics to Manipuris, and whoever is blocking various national highways, and particularly Ukrul, those who are blocked yesterday night, the Ukrul national highway, they all should be booked. Whoever is having a gun with him, whoever is having a drone with him, whoever is having a LMG with him, they should be shot. It's not that they should not. Anyone having a weapon, that means he is keeping the weapon to kill somebody. If it doesn't deposit, then that only alternative is Jogi model. That is what is required in Manipur. Jogi model has to come in Manipur. You have to use force, and you have to have more women battalions also. So all those women also, those who are coming and they are blocking the road, our women battalion should be there to throw them out from the road. Because Manipuris, they want, now they don't have diesel, they don't have petrol, they don't have vegetables, they don't have sugar, they don't have oil. Everything has gone up. So Manipuris, they require everything. He may be Kuki, she may be Maiti, he may be Pongal. We have to see the interest of Manipur. So now, as because the distrust is there, now as because none of the communities are coming together, only alternate is to use force, maximum force, to keep national highway open and to find out who have abducted these people, who has fired at Ranglobi, who all have fired at Ukrul, and how the abduction has taken place. It's not that difficult also. They are security forces are doing it in Kashmir. They can well do it in Manipur. There's nothing wrong. They can well do it. We have to go for a massive operation to find out weapons, those who are having it, and those latest weapons, automatic weapons which are coming from Myanmar, they should be seized. And particularly the roots of drugs, that is which is coming, and the rebels, those who are coming inside the Kuki rebels, that has to be stopped.
That's right, sir. And Mr. Hauke, there are concerns from Naga groups and concerns from Kuki groups simultaneously. But the government, it looks like, is failing to communicate with all stakeholders. Why is there this communication issue, and what is the communication gap, and how can it be, restored 3 years on?
Oh, first thing is government should stop the cookie appeasement policy. Second thing is they should identify all the indigenous tribal communities, that so-called quote-unquote 36 communities, and they should understand the plights and the aspiration of the people. Nobody wants violence. You ask to anybody, any cookies, they say they want peace. So whosoever loves peace amongst all the indigenous 36 communities, government should start facilitating the community understanding, like how Thado and Meitei do. So today there is no problem between Thado and Meitei because we can sit together here. I'm freely roaming here in Imphal, even though I'm Hauki, I'm Thado. There is no more problem. So government should facilitate talks between communities. So you keep aside the council and the cookies who don't want to come for peace at the moment. There's no issues. They are having a talks at the highest level. We have no issues. So for the government, they should stop appeasing the cookies and they should restore law and order. We are very optimistic that a new DGP has come in and some sort of senior police officers reshuffling happened today. So we are looking forward and we are very optimistic. So I'm sure that government will understand the dynamics and they will stop the cookie aggression and they will stop the appeasement of the cookie people. Then only things will fall in line.
Yeah, and we hope that normalcy returns to Manipur, because the real test is not whether leaders talk about peace, but whether ordinary people feel safe enough to believe in it. That's the bottom line, and that's the only demand, because right now Manipur is on the boil and people there are missing out on a lot of facilities, be it petrol, diesel, or even being connected with the nation's larger goal of Viksit Bharat 2047. So we hope that peace returns to the valley very, very soon. But thank you, Mr. P.K. Mishra and Colonel Sapam and Mr. Hawke, for joining me on this discussion.